I've got the useless sound montage. I have Amin Al-Hassan. He is now ready. His energy level is in the proper place. He keeps getting yanked from room to room, but we brought him back in here for his wheelhouse. Liam Neeson is coming out with another movie. It is out. I saw it.
That's the name of the movie? Out?
It would be a good choice. It's one word. You know his movies.
That's his specialty.
You know this.
Can I guess?
Does everyone want to guess on what Liam Neeson? Now all these guys are doing it. We played a trailer for Nicolas Cage at his age. Denzel Washington is saying, "I'll do Equalizer." Bob Odenkirk, 55 years old, 60 years old. You want to be 65, 70? Yes, you can be an action star. Liam Neeson's made 10 of these. Take a guess.
The name of the movie is Gone.
A good guess. Anyone? But no.
That's the name of the movie?
No. That would be a great name for a movie.
No. I got to guess. Devastation.
Nope. No, you guys are going to get excited when I tell you, but nope.
I'm excited for him to tell you guys so I can rain on his parade.
What?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's do this whole bit.
Abducted.
No.
Applesauce.
No.
Extraction.
2 words.
No, I think Extraction's been
Already
done by
made.
someone
They already
else.
made that one. How about Stolen?
No.
Kidnapped.
I like that one.
In Turkey.
Thank you.
No. No.
That's called Taken 2.
Retribution is the correct answer.
Okay. All right.
Dang it.
Allow me to urinate all over it. We already talked about this months ago when the trailer for that came out. We talked about it on this show.
No, that was Remember or somebody. The name of the movie was like Remember
Not Memory.
or Memory or
We
something.
talked about
Attrition?
No, Retribution. It's the one where he's got to keep driving the car and the kids are in the back and all that. Dude, we talked about this. I got tagged 8 billion times from everyone who listens to this show every time they saw that trailer. We talked about this. But he's got a newer movie that we haven't talked about.
One word?
It's not one word.
Oh.
What?
But the title is fire. You guys ready for this? In the Land of Saints and Sinners. Woo! I'm back. I don't need to know anything else. Liam Neeson in the Land of Saints and Sinners. The trailer is fire. The title is fire. The man is on fire, but not to be confused with Man on Fire, which is a terrible movie.
Right.
It is great. Now, because I see your energy go down because I kind of rained on your parade.
How old is he? How old is Liam Neeson?
Dan, just so that you don't feel too bad, there is another movie that's in pre-production right now.
71.
It's called Thug.
Oh.
And that one, I'm like, oh my God.
I'm listening.
I want to point out to
Finally.
people. I want to point out to people because I think it's still fairly shocking, even though I think that we're being pelted with such crazy news every day from every angle of the universe, that maybe normalized relations with Saudi Arabia in sports is something that we're all going to just shrug now about, because I talked about Ngannou and Fury and a really seismic boxing, mixed martial arts, business, sports story without ever mentioning, hey, Saudi Arabia can purchase these things very easily. Now, their money has been totally normalized, and we just sort of throw our ethics aside on, the bone sawing of a journalist. We understand it's kind of blood money, but sports likes its money, and if it's got blood on it, everyone's in complicated business relationships. But the Saudi Arabia thing is working. Like what Saudi Arabia was trying to do with its money, it is successfully doing.
Oh, it's a big fat mission accomplished for the sports washing. And honestly, in retrospect, Vince McMahon was ahead of the curve. And credit to him. He caught a lot for it, and now no one really cares to think about it much more, and everyone's getting in bed with Saudi Arabia. If you follow combat sports, you have no choice but to watch it, and now they've just been given a World Cup, the rare unopposed World Cup. See, FIFA got creative with their corruption this time because there's kind of this rule that the same qualifying region doesn't host back-to-back World Cups. Mm-hmm. That's how you spread the wealth around the world. But the 2030 World Cup is going to be held for the first time in 3 different continents.
Yeah.
How convenient. So that leaves just Asia and Oceania, and there were no other bids. Saudi Arabia ran unopposed. So they win the 2034 World Cup. Them and them alone. And it's working. and we've become desensitized to it. And I gotta say, had that one wrong. I thought that it wouldn't creep into more and more major sports. I'm like, okay, the WWE can do it, UFC can do it, but now soccer, golf, everywhere, Premier League soccer, they're getting into ownership groups here in the United States. Saudi Arabia is here to stay in the major sports landscape, and you will have no choice but to tune in if you want to follow these sports.
It's almost like unbridled capitalism might be a bad idea. This is. But if you guys remember when we talked about players going from EPL and from other leagues going to play in Saudi Arabia, and people pointing out how awful Saudi Arabia is on human rights stuff, and I said and the same thing when we talked about the World Cup being in Qatar and human rights violations in Qatar. I said it's funny because the complaints seem to be very myopic in terms of not recognizing the acts that have been done by the countries that we call mainstream, right?
The Western countries that we just look past theirs.
Right. And then the idea being that this morality play has always been useful because it's always, well, we've got all the money and these are some backwater places. But once you get money playing from everywhere, now you have to play on the same level playing field of, oh, so if I have money, you just have to shut up? Oh, that's how it feels. When you're always the one with money and making everyone else shut up, the system's right. I'm good, they're bad, whatever. When it comes back on your shores, it feels like, oh my God, this is what it feels like? So I say all this to say not to absolve Saudi Arabia or Qatar or any of these places for their human rights record. I say it to say, yeah, when you decided the rules were the person with the most money is the most important and most powerful, this is the arena you created. This is what happens.
When you make the complaint of unbridled capitalism, what does it result in? Well, if you're Wall Street, it eats up journalism and now eats up Hollywood. And in this case, what we're talking about is a country that ate up an actual journalist with a bone saw. And there are other atrocities, but that's the one. Immediately around that, everybody everywhere started taking their money, and sports needs going to streaming services and everywhere else. Sports will take wherever the oil wells are, literal oil wells that are financial. But the part about this that causes me the most despair when Mike Ryan points out with me, like, hey, Saudi Arabia bought its way into the game, and they did, but they did it with not just human rights atrocities, the ones that are coming next, because their oil is something that we're so dependent on, and we are clearly and obviously alarming all of the world's scientists who are like, hey, if you continue to use oil this way with this kind of naked capitalism, we're going to start losing pieces of the earth much faster than any scientists ever thought, because we're that dependent on this oil money in every way, in corporate media, in government, where you're not getting the leadership that you deserve because Biden has bought too, where the New York Times and the Washington Post are also failing you here because oil has bought everything.
You at this point, geopolitically speaking, you need Saudi Arabia, and you need to hope that bringing in Western culture in these events somehow makes Saudi Arabia an odd, and I use this term loosely, but a stabilizing force in a very volatile region. It's almost as if their issues with other countries like Qatar have like a mutually assured destruction element to it, that you just hope, well, if we're going to back a horse in this region, let's just keep pumping money into it and hope against hope that the Western culture will prevail. That was always the argument that WWE made when they first went over there. Yeah, no women were on this card, but look at the progress. Now we have 2 women wrestling on the card, and we have 2 matches that you can point to.
I heard some Zagaki in there.
No, but I'm just saying the argument and the concessions are such that if you're naive about things, you can mark them as progress. So there's a reason why the United States still has a partnership with Saudi Arabia, despite Saudi Arabia funding 9/11. You can't afford. Our country simply cannot afford to not do business with this country at this point.
The unfortunate part of trying to hope that Saudi Arabia will be a settling force in the Middle East is that they are quite literally the opposite of that at all times and have been basically forever. And in the present issues in the Middle East, they're kind of literally playing with fire in terms of what's going on with Israel-Palestine. And, the U.S. is having to try to work with them in these same capacities. But Saudi Arabia, in expecting them to be any level of progressive because we're there, like touting our really,
right?
That
no,
it's got to be a cynical approach to that.
It's a flawed plan, and basically the plan hinges on the enemy of my enemy.
The plan is just money, man. Like
right.
It's.
We were just talking geopolitically.
But yeah, geopolitically, it's still money. It's that's the reason why. It's because there's a financial stake in it. Not if Saudi Arabia were Sudan with nowhere near the amount of natural resources to make it valuable. Like it wouldn't have any sort of leverage. The whole purpose of all of this. That's why I'm saying, like, you can either have morality or you can have unbridled capitalism. You can't have both. And so we walk around championing capitalism is great, and we don't need checks and balances, and we don't need any of that stuff, and the market knows the best and whatever. And then when the market says, yeah, they're willing to pay us this much, like, oh, not them. Well, it's too late for that. You already decided that you don't care about you'll skip civil rights in this country.
You'll show your hypocrisies at every turn.
Exactly. So it's too late at this stage to say, oh, we're not going to do it with them. Why? You've been doing it this whole time. Now, the thing I do want to point out, I don't know if you guys have talked about this. Tyson Fury, did you see that video where he's being interviewed and he says, I go to England.
They treat him like a king in Saudi Arabia, and in his own country, he gets no fanfare. He was He was talking about how it is that Saudi Arabia bought him, and he spoke on behalf of Saudi Arabia.
They roll out the red carpet because they've found with celebrity like Cristiano Ronaldo, they've used Messi for marketing campaigns. You normalize Saudi Arabia this way by treating celebrities who then say things like Tyson Fury, which is, this is so great. Keep in mind that a lot of the players that are playing in the Saudi league that took the Saudi money aren't actually living in Saudi Arabia because of the laws being prohibited to their lifestyles. They live in a neighboring country and travel into Saudi Arabia so they don't break any of the laws.
So it reminds me really quickly of the first episode of The Shop. It's LeBron, it's Jon Stewart, it's Snoop, it's a bunch of guys. And they were talking about how there's no racism in Europe because when we go to Europe, everybody always treats us great, whatever, but I come back here, it's awful. And I'm like, that's because that's you. That doesn't make that place good. There's plenty of awful racism in Europe.
Yeah.
It's just they're not racist to LeBron James.
You think LeBron, who has an ownership stake at Liverpool, would know better.
It was Snoop, actually, I think, who said it, and LeBron was co-signing, which...
What?
Yeah, Snoop was like,
what?
Oh, I go to France. Everything's always great. I'm like, I've been in France, man. My parents used to live in France. Like, it's
the privilege of celebrity is the greatest of all the privileges.
It's crazy. It's like, it's a great country. What are you talking about?
To be LeBron. Another batch of useless sound has finally arrived. It's come through the dungeon. Billy Gill has dragged Taylor down there. It's awful down there. It's hard to go down there, grab all the shitty sound from football. There's so much of it. And Billy has had his career derailed by this particular gauntlet that he has to go through every week. It's dark. It makes his mood unhappy. I think his children live in a darker house because he's got to go visit this place to get the useless sound. So he got it to us right at the finish line this week. We're headed into more useless sound this weekend. Everyone's going to be previewing Chiefs Dolphins. That's all going to be useless. Let's hear this week's useless sound.
This is what pro football is. It's about players knowing what to do, going out there and executing and making plays.
My bottom line to them was, we got to get better in every aspect.
I felt like our guys really earned it in all three phases.
Yeah, it was a big win, but like I said, it was just one. There's still a lot of football left to be played. This is week 7. We got 10 more, so this one means nothing if we come out and lay an egg.
The ball found the open players.
This team moves really well when I'm able to get the ball around to our playmakers.
Yeah, he made a big-time play in a big-time moment.
That's a couple players making plays for us is what that was. Playmakers make plays.
Everybody talks about, toughness. Can you get back up when you get hit? All right, if you get hit once, so you get hit twice. All right, 3 times now, who's tough?
We had a great week of practice. We knew that we could come out and win this football game.
We did the things
you do when you win.
We got tough guys, guys who's willing to win and adapting to adversity, different type of weather, long flights. It's just crazy. But I believe our team, the sky's the limit for us. We just got to find a way to fight within all of that chaos.
My mom always says, get the lead, keep the lead.
Yeah, it's the National Football League, so, came down to 1 yard and just missed it.
You miss off an inch in this league, and it's a mile.
We have a lot of guys playing, and, we're scrapping and clawing.
It's been a roller coaster ride. We get a chance to reset, reboot.
Better to win ugly than lose pretty.
I felt like the guys deserved to win today. Obviously, I didn't, do my best job today.
They're holding themselves accountable. I'm holding myself accountable.
A lot of it's the other guys, so it's not just me.
This was a three-phase win. Offense, defense, special teams. Did the things that we needed to do, put ourselves in position, gave us an opportunity.
They made the most of their opportunities on those field positions.
We did everything we needed to do to win, and we took advantage of the opportunities that we had. When we had a short field, we scored.
I love the way we played today.
Sorry, I got distracted. I love me just a crisp, clean pair of shoes.
I just want to win, man. The yards are awesome, great, thanks. Yes, but couldn't care less. I just want to win. That's all I care about.
Multiple keys today, AJ. Yeah, I think that the guys got to stick to the game plan.
We feel like we failed, our own expectations today in terms of playing our best, and that's something that we're going to have to watch the film and be better at.
Win the real estate battle.
We'll have to actually look at the film to tell you exactly what happened.
Play with a chip on their shoulder.
We'll look at the tape, and I know there's good things on the tape, so we'll get better from the good and the bad.
Stay hungry.
It's life, it's ups and downs.
When the meal's on the plate, eat.
Zero excuse for our offense to come out and lay an egg like that. That was horrible.
Stick to the game plan. Yep. Win the real estate battle.
Eat.
Meal on the plates.
Yeah, when it's there, you got to eat. Yeah.
Have to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Gill is doing commentary on FIU football. The last two games he's gone out to, they've been down 21-0 in the first quarter. Is he being bad on purpose? Is that the joke? He is going. He's doing cliches and doing useless sound. Is he dropping useless sound in the broadcast because it's not helpful because nobody wants it? What's he doing there?
To try to beef up this segment, to try to beaf up the useless sound montage.
There wasn't enough of it because God bless football is burying him. I do feel bad for. I do. Why do you laugh?
The idea that he's being buried alive by a podcast.
I mean, he is. He's got to chase Stugotz around. Do you know how hard that is?
I do, but in my mind's eye, I'm imagining Billy in a grave and Stugotz over him with a shovel.
Yes.
Yes. With just fake laugh after fake laugh.
That's you have Stugotz doing that work. I have him
farming it
watching
out.
someone else bury Billy.
Yeah, buddy.
Mikey A.
That is what is happening there. Can we get to, though, because God bless football has been, it is growing in numbers and is getting more and more popular because the messy, sprawling, awful of Billy Gill enabling Stugotz is something that people enjoy. But what I wanted to get to was a video that Mike has been dying to unveil, I'm hoping, upon the audience about Botafogo and an owner going crazy.
There is an American owner. There's more American ownership creeping into the domestic Brazilian league, and there was a controversial match in that league last night where a team blew a 3-0 lead, and there was a suspect red card. And following the game, the American owner of Botafogo was interviewed, and he was quite a bit emotional.
You're clearly very annoyed by everything that happened here. What do you have to say?
The whole world saw it. That is not a red card. He got the ball first. If it's even a foul, I'm not sure. It is not a red card. He changed the game. This is corruption. This is a theft. Please find me, Edinaldo, but you need to resign tomorrow morning. That's what needs to happen. This championship has become a joke. Nobody deserves this. These players from Palmeiras, they don't want to win this way. We don't want to lose this way. It's like 5 games in a row. Gentlemen, you played a good game. It's not your fault, but this is corruption. This has to change. Edinaldo, you need to resign for the good of the game. It has to be over now. This is theft. Find me. You can red card me. Right? It's my stadium. I'll still be here.
I'm going to translate. Vou traduzir. Ele primeiro.
That is the best owner interview I have ever heard.
I want that to happen in the NBA.
The players awkwardly walking by. Good job. It's not your fault.
You don't understand. Mark Cuban pales. Mark Cuban's tried that. It wasn't that good. Mark Cuban's done that when he lost a championship to Dwayne Wade. He tried to do that, but he didn't do it like that.
He was telling the commissioner to resign multiple times, said, fine me, suspend me, red card me. I own the building. I'll be here tomorrow.
And also, good job, guys.
Yes, and as the team walks off the field, well, Mike didn't mention, it wasn't just that they were up 3-0, it's that they also lost in injury time. Like in he was
the 99th minute.
He was furious. The last goal was created.
Great player for Real Madrid, who's still playing for Palmeiras, had a brace. I mean, there is good soccer being played there, and American businessmen have realized that, in Brazil, we can beef up this league and make a lot of money because of natural talent by selling players over there. So hopefully that's not the last of passionate American post games we see.
Please, more of those.
I love his leather jacket, by the way. Can we pull that up?
He's got like the Jack Del Rio collection.
Oh
right
my
there.
God, this dude is pimping with that jacket on.
Why can't we get
John
more
Textor?
More
what a name!
Interviews like this. One thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. There was a poll. What happened?
Look at this picture.
Yeah, I mean, he's an unhinged leather jacket wearing, shouting corruption and theft.
John Textor also sounds like the fake name you give when someone says, "You there on your phone? What's your name?" John Textor.
Can you guys tell me if you saw this poll? Because there were two interesting things in a poll that tie into a conversation we were having a segment ago about how things have changed in fandom. There are two places where I was surprised by a couple of numbers that came my way from an Altman, Salon poll that 60% of sports fans, 60%, are having trouble accessing what they deem essential sports viewing. So the majority of your sports audience is too old with the technology to do what is a relatively simple thing so far, finding Amazon on Thursday or finding is Ohio State football on Peacock. I think I could figure it out, even though I'm one of these people.
You can figure it out as you're wondering aloud.
I'm not watching Ohio State football on Peacock, so I don't know if it's there or not.
I didn't need this study to know this, because most sports fans that would call themselves sports fans, that's an older base. And out of the older people on our show, it tracks.
I have to go to Brazil to watch a football game? What am I, John Textor?
Is that Doc Rivers?
That is Doc Rivers.
That is Doc Rivers. Is that Doc Rivers?
I'm an old man.
It's old.
No, it's white Doc Rivers.
Should I sound more feeble?
It is old.
There you go. You're getting there.
Doc Rivers.
Where do I find my sports? I'm just trying to watch the football game, and you're telling me I have to go all the way to the Amazon? What?
What cock?
The other number, though, and tell me if you find this any more surprising, because a lot of people, that got traction with a lot of people, but I didn't think it was the lead part of that story. To me, this was that 56% of young people are now identifying with sports celebrities more as fans with their fandom than they are of teams, that Jimmy Butler is bigger than the Miami Heat. Now, I know we know this. I know that we know that stars rule generally, but I don't think we think of it quite as clearly as young people saying, no, I'm going with this brand. And if this brand moves around, like this is an interesting evolution, I would say, of the player empowerment movement, where you build the brand so much that it becomes bigger in fandom than the team. That's a bit of a sea change with your customers.
Dude, I got in this huge argument with people because I'm trying to explain to them that no matter how good the Kings are now, there's a large percent of that population that are probably Warriors fans. Like, no, not us in Sacramento. We're Sacramento strong. I'm like, I'm not talking about you. If you were 10 years old in 2015 and you saw Steph Curry play, and meanwhile, whatever the hell was happening in Sacramento was happening, there's no way now as an 18-year-old, as a 19-year-old, as a 20-year-old, you're like, no, I'm back to being a Kings fan. It's logical. When you talk about 56%, I would surmise that if for basketball, that number is like 80%. Well, nobody cares about where they live or what team their dad grew
this
up.
is the part that's the change, though. If you start covering football and basketball as the soap opera and the transaction all over in a way that neglects baseball, I gave you the stat a few weeks ago that ESPN and FS1 went from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. never talking about baseball. and just talking about all the storylines and the drama and the brands and the guys with the big social media followings. And so you make football players stars. Kelsey's a star. Mahomes is a star. You make them brands. Kelsey pops into the podcast business. Hey, look at this, $15 million I'm worth a year. Just invented this with my brother because I'm a star now. Like, the players taking some of this money away from the fandom of I enjoy my team, not an individual player. That's interesting to me.
I'm telling you that this has been the case in the NBA forever. Mm-hmm. In the 80s, people who grew up in Cleveland, Jason Jackson grew up in Cleveland. He's a Laker fan growing up. How does that happen? Because the NBA has always been selling stars over teams. This is a new phenomenon to the NFL, to baseball, to basketball. You know how many Bulls, Jordan fans I grew up with in New York? Like, this is nothing new.
Yeah, it might be a little skewed, too, in that it's been a weird year for champions, and that I believe now with the Rangers, that's 3 major sports champions that won a championship for the first time in their team history. So you're not actually having these really strong brands win the title at the end. It's not like the Lakers and Yankees are in the conversation. You have Nuggets, Rangers, Golden Knights. These aren't strong brands nationally.
I do enjoy in the macro of just like being amazed by sports and sports business and how much business gets produced by sports. Of course, the end result of all of that would be Dwayne Wade, LeBron, Tom Brady all getting into legitimate ownership because they're like, well, we ushered the change of we own our money, our brands, our media empires. Now let us into ownership.
Yeah, but social media also changed a lot of this in that Ronaldo has more followers than any individual team. If Messi becomes an Inter Miami player, Inter Miami all of a sudden has more followers than any other American sports team. The individuals are the currency right now.
Yeah, I totally forgot to do this segment.
I know it's getting a decent amount of coverage. I also know that we are spending a lot of time sort of immune to scandal of all kinds. Never mind sports scandal. I'm talking about people leaning into the I'm shameless and your scandal, no matter what it means to you. I'm not resigning. Scandals aren't even bad anymore for brands, whether they be in politics or other places. But sports, still a little bit of the sacred cathedral stuff. And man, you've got coaches and now leaders pressuring the power. Hey, what Jim Harbaugh did here is not just cheating and stupidity. It's not just brazen. It's not just that you can see his record got a lot better as soon as this wildly named Conner Stallions emerges with his spy gear from the Austin Powers movies. Now we seem to have some sort of, is it proof, Mike, video that Conner Stallions, the espionage king from Michigan State who writes manifestos and has 500 pages worth of I can beat you with my being on Jim McElwain's sideline at Central Michigan in a disguise with glasses that actually have, is it lasers on them?
That is a recording light that is on his sunglasses right there. You could tell, like,
he doesn't look suspicious at all.
I know from this video it looks like that could be a reflection, but there is video of him right before that blue light goes on, and you can see it there. And these Ray-Bans that record have that functionality. So yes, he is wearing sunglasses that record while he's on the CMU sideline. He is recording Michigan State signals. It should be noted, you mentioned that their record, Michigan's record, is better after Conner Stallions joined them. Before, Jim Harbaugh's Michigan had a winning percentage of 69%. Afterwards, 91%. It also should be noted that Jim Harbaugh's worst season at Michigan came the season before Conner Stallions joined the staff, which was 2020. You remember what happened in 2020?
Pandemic.
No one was in the stands because of the pandemic. So there's a lot of circumstantial evidence here in the Big Ten, which does have a fair amount of autonomy when it comes to whatever the NCAA wants to do here. The Big Ten has a first-time commissioner in power. And all the other schools now are making a big stink about this, I think rightfully so, because it impacts their jobs as well. Win-loss records directly correlate to employment in Big Ten schools, and the Big Ten is facing a ton of pressure from all of these schools that are victims in this scheme to do something drastic about Michigan's cheating because, yes, while you can say anecdotally this happens, there's a gamesmanship.
This does not happen.
No. This happens in terms of sign stealing. You see games change when linebackers pick up on subtle cues, whether it be a quarterback touching the towel. There's a gamesmanship element to this, quite like there is in baseball. And the reason why the Astros scandal transcended stuff is because you're using trash cans and recording devices and buzzing devices, allegedly. Well, you have a guy with Ray-Bans that are recording, as you said, straight out of an Austin Powers movie. You have him dressing up in costume.
It's so good.
I like the idea of someone being like, hey, if you want to seem natural, put your hand on your chin and just the other one across your belly. And just look like you're really looking at something.
And shoot blue lights into the sky.
The still of him fist pumping as Central Michigan has a positive play is also my favorite because he's method.
Isn't this on the coach next to him who didn't recognize that there was a fraud right next to him?
Yesterday.
Chris, you were gone yesterday.
Yeah, you weren't here. You didn't
College
know.
athletics is weird like that, man. A bunch of people find their way on the sideline.
They were making that argument yesterday, but I'm looking at it right now, and that looks like an accomplice. Like
It'd be funny if the guy kind of just
those guys
over.
next to each other must know each other. Like that other guy's in on it because you can't sit next to that guy with blue lights coming out of your eyes, your hand on your chin, sunglasses.
No red flags here.
Like, come on, that person next to him is also guilty of something. He knows something.
It's 8 p.m.
He's in on it.
They should have known when they saw a young white guy with a goatee. No one has a goatee anymore. That guy is in disguise.
You got to be kidding me with this controversy, though, because I've told you before, Mike, these commissioners, they're kind of dopes. Like,
especially in the Big Ten, they're basically just vehicles for what the schools want.
But you'll get pushed around by a James Franklin because he doesn't like Michigan because you're a first-time commissioner and all these important people who are the highest paid employees in the state are telling you, I want Harbaugh out.
I think something pretty unprecedented in terms of punishment in season is going to happen to Michigan here because we've never seen it quite this brazen. And a lot of the people are like, yeah, it's one thing to do it. It's another thing to be this brazen and get caught so easily because of how brazen it is.
Because you're dumb.
Maybe that's what I'll do in Germany. I'll try to get onto the Chiefs sideline as a Dolphins, I'll be like with glasses on and you just see me behind Andy Reid.
It'd be so great if you get deported.
Yeah.
Get deported in Germany. That's
please be careful.
Arrested overseas.
Please be
That's a good idea,
careful
though.
with whatever you do there.
If you stand behind Andy Reid, no one will notice.
Yeah.
I like that joke.
You what?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Come
sorry.
on, Dan.
My bad.
Andy Reid?
My bad. Zagacki. Look, man. Sometimes you sound like Zagacki when you're not doing Zagacki. No,
what are we lying about?
You're so deep in.
Come on. It's on commercials poking fun at it. It's fine. It's a play on for me.
Okay. Can we get to, before we get out of here, the polls? We need to get to the polls and an update on the polls.
I just heard Chris Cody say shit audibly behind me.
No, I just got to pull up my screen here.
All right,
I got him.
Chris,
We're here.
It's brought to you by Dollar Shave Club.
Chris,
Epic razors, epically affordable. Find them in stores or online.
I don't like when I have to type. I don't like when I have to type my password into my laptop. It's like it's my laptop.
Chris,
Right.
I will
use the fingerprint.
Yeah.
It's your dog.
You haven't set up the fingerprint?
It's your dog.
Biometrics.
Chris, I will try to filibuster for you here.
I got it. I'm ready, Dano.
Briefly. No.
Are you a hand-holding couple?
Yeah, the honorable. Oh,
Yeah.
The honorable Chris Cody has the floor.
Are you a hand-holding couple? This is really split. 51.6%. Oh, wow. Say no.
Yeah.
Wow. These people are not doing it right.
You out here hand holding?
Got a handhold, buddy. If you know what's good for you, got a handhold. Dan gets me, my boy.
A couple of paces, but after a while, like, yo, stop getting sweaty.
Sure, but you got to do it.
A little bit.
You got to do it to do it. You get me?
Arm around the back, that's a move.
I like when my wife holds like one finger.
Where?
Wait a minute. Why is he asking that?
Woohoo!
He would not ask that. He would not. He's not
Deviant.
dirty. He's not dirty.
Come on. I'm an adult. Been in lover's lane with a lass. Like the rest of you.
Is Roebuck jealous of Sears?
Oh, my God.
89.8% say yes.
Buy a little soda pop. Hold someone's finger. Beast.
Don't pull it though.
Back to you, Don.
Can you buy a house out of a catalog? 54% say yes.
Should you?
More unnatural smile. Ron DeSantis or Jason Garrett?
Oh my God.
75% Ron DeSantis.
Wow.
That's right, though.
Is the God Bless Football podcast responsible for all football losses nationwide? 95% say yes. Greater fall from grace. Rich Rodriguez, Butch Jones.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
64% Rich Rodriguez.
Rich Rod had it going for a second there.
Those are the polls. Oh, wait, from last week. Did Chris Cody play center for the Dolphins last week? 78% said yes.
Okay.
There are a lot of people who look like you, Chris Cody. I see more than anyone on our show. People spot.
Not enough.
What?
Tony, no one loves the character of racist Joe Zagacki more than...
Anytime I hear Josie, I just have to smile.
Racist.
More
Racist. Definitely not racist. Racist. Plenty of black friends and colleagues that I admire.
Chris Cody is about to take a red-eye flight to Germany. He is about to...
I'm tired right now. My flight takes off at 6 p.m. and it lands at 7:45 a.m. the next day in Germany.
Perfect.
It's perfect, but I need to be able to sleep on this flight. And I am tired right now, so we're working well.
Well, Amin is a veteran traveler. Amin is a veteran traveler for red-eye flights. The Washington Post has put together a list here of the rules for red-eye flights. Are you guys ready for the rules? I don't know how you feel about this, but Amin, you're our expert here. This is your wheelhouse. You've seen this list. What are your thoughts before I tell the audience the list?
I read the article, and I am staggered that someone was paid American currency to write this.
All right. Rule number 1, don't act like this is your living room couch. Number 2, dim the lights and lower the volume. Number 3, no pajamas and absolutely no bare feet.
If I have socks, why can't I put pajamas on?
Let him get through the list.
Number 4, no stinky midnight snacks. Number 5, don't hog the bathroom for your nightly routine. Number 6, handle your snoring seatmate tactfully. Number 7, no talking or playing with the window shade.
Who's talking to the window shade? That seems like 2 rules right there that they try to sandwich into 7.
Hello, window shade.
Well, they already had window shade and dim the lights. Look, window shades are down, ladies.
How's it hanging?
It's also dark outside.
Well, no, because
I can open it if I want.
As you're flying there, then at some point people are asleep, but it's light outside because you're flying.
That is true. No one ever asks the window shade how they want to be put.
I love the new planes where it's a button.
I don't like those.
No, because the pilots take it upon themselves to just dim everybody's windows so you don't have the operator error.
It takes too long. I hit the button and I'm waiting for it, and it like fogs very slowly. I'm like, no, just get to it. I like how I was like, this is not a rule for a red-eye flight, the bare feet. This is a rule for flights. As is stinky snacks. Don't care what time of day it is. Don't bring microwave fish up on that plane. The handling the snoring seatmate tactfully. We were talking about this earlier, Chris. You just kind of got to make physical contact, but make it look accidental. Yeah.
But you can do that multiple times. You can do that.
I'm saying if I'm on the window and I got to go pee and the person is sleeping on the aisle, you don't want to obviously nudge them or actually wake them. So you want to wake them accidentally on purpose.
No pajamas. In the words of Tony, shut up. I'm going to do what I want, man. I'll wear whatever the hell I want. Why do they care?
As long as your feet are covered. I don't care if you have pajamas on.
Give me a break.
Getting a bit lippy.
Keep those shoes on.
How many times are you going to wake up your seatmate accidentally, though? That's only a one-time
If they're
move.
snoring?
That's a one-time move.
You elbow them? Oh, sorry about that.
If
That's
they're
a chicken
snoring,
wing to the rib for me.
I endlessly. If it's to go to the bathroom, as Chris asked, then you get one of those.
I can ruffle through my backpack with the best of them.
Yep. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Tony is saying a chicken wing?
A chicken wing to the rib, because you know how you're fighting for space, right? It's a violent real estate acquisition.
The chicken wing is extending while you're going for your bag. I'm trying to get some room
if
here.
If you're snoring, I'm gonna hit you with a chicken wing between the 3rd and 4th rib.
No. You can't be that overt. You might as well just tap him on the shoulder.
I might.
You're boxing out somebody.
I
You're
have to,
Marcus
Dan. I'm
Smart.
a big guy. You know how it is, Dan. You sit in those tight seats.
Dan is
you
big.
You gotta get your elbows in there. Make sure people respect your space. I can't be having a foot go through my stall here like Chris Cody.
Curled toe.
Oh, God.